what's up? So, everybody's been sitting at home, a lot of us. I did over the weekend. So, you Netflix and, all the streaming services you got, Hulu, Amazon, whatever. So, Netflix, and this was trending number one at one point, basically because a lot of people are just at home. What else you got to do? So, I see this movie called Self Made. And it's got Octavia Spencer in it, round lady. She played on, nice little round lady. She was on The Help. She won an Oscar, I believe, Best Supporting Actress, and it's called Self Made. It's supposed to be the Madam C.J. Walker film. Now, Madam C.J. Walker was famous for making hair products for women in the early 1900s, and she became one of the first black millionaires. This is all like during that Jim Crow era, and she's a legend. But when Hollywood does these films, whenever they say inspired by or loosely based, be prepared because they're about to butcher somebody's fucking story. And that's what they did again, just like they did the Harriet Tubman movie last year. And some people were like, oh, you're being disrespectful, calling it trash. Do your research, watch docs, read books, read the autobiographies, watch the film, then tell me if I'm being disrespectful or not. They're being disrespectful. And for people who don't know about these people, even people who look like us, who are getting their information on these films, you're misleading and miseducating these people on legends, and real historians should be behind these movies, and I get it. It's hard to tell someone's story word for word in an hour and a half film. This was an episodic series. This is 4 episodes. I'm not even gonna hold you. I can only watch three. I couldn't get to the fourth one. If that discredits my opinion, fuck it. But I couldn't get to the fourth episode, and I'll tell you why. But do the right fucking thing. No Spike Lee. Okay, so first of all, you had 10 producers, executive producers in this film. 10. You ever hear the saying, too many cooks in the damn kitchen? There was 10 producers. One of them was LeBron James. Now, yeah, LeBron James is getting into the Hollywood square. One of the big reasons why he moved out to LA outside of basketball was geographically the location, him trying to get into the Hollywood thing. Still hasn't done Space Jam 2, but he did produce a show I used to watch called, what was the name of the show? It used to come on Stars Network. Survivor's Remorse. And it was cool until season 3. When they killed Uncle Mike, when they killed Mike Epps off, it was over. And they canceled it last year. But him and Kasilemmons. Now, Kasilemmons is the black feminist who directed the Harriet Tubman film and called it a freedom movie. And the number one antagonist was a black man named Bigger Long. And at the end of the film, her slave owner, a white guy obviously, kills Bigger Long and saves her from dying. That was the narrative she pushed in that shit. So, excuse me, once again, you got this lady, this black feminist, being a producer on another movie of a black legend. And she fucked it up. She fucked it up. Octavia Spencer was also one of the producers in this movie. So it's called Self Made. Tiffany Haddish is in it also. She plays her daughter. There's two narratives that I see being pushed, black narratives. First of all, you got the light skin, dark skin narrative, which has been going on since the beginning of slavery. Where light skinned people are supposed to be superior and have a better chance to succeed than dark skinned Negroes. And what's the lady Annie Malone, who I didn't even know about. Annie Malone was the lady, she was the first woman who was making hair products for black women in America in those days. And she had an agency of other women who worked under her, and C.J. Walker, Madam C.J. Walker, who's her husband. Her name was really Sarah. Her husband's name was C.J., but she called herself Madam C.J. Walker. She worked for her, and then eventually sprung off and did her own thing. But in the film, and they did have a fallout in real life, but it wasn't based off what the film tells you. In the film, the lady Annie Malone is portrayed to be this mixed, fair-skinned princess with this long, strokey blonde hair, and she's just a goddess, and she constantly talks down at Madam C.J. Walker and tells her she's ugly, she's never gonna be nothing. They're pushing that narrative hard, light skin versus dark skin, the whole film. And then Madam C.J. Walker, Octavia Spencer, constantly reminds you, women like me don't have rights like that. Women like us, we got to work harder. We don't got that nice hair, and we don't look pretty, and they don't tell us we. So that narrative is being forced the whole fucking shit. I'm like, okay, we get it. They just kept driving that shit. And then the other narrative that really got me was, now her husband, who is C.J. Walker, who's portrayed by Blair Underwood. In the beginning, he's very supportive of his wife, and they turned the whole house into a factory. And some point during, and they did get a divorce in real life, but it wasn't based off the context in this movie. In the movie, at some point, his father, who's played by Greg Morris, aka Stan from Martin, he's telling him, this is the 1900s, he's telling him that ain't the way it's supposed to be. You the man, you supposed to be the breadwinner of the house. That ain't right. It starts to getting into his head, and he starts becoming jealous and feeling belittled because his woman is the number one bread honcho in the house. She's the HNIC, and he can't handle that. And so it's like the jealous black man who can't help that his woman is being uplifted, and he can't accept women empowerment and all that bullshit. That was not true. That's not how it went down. And then, by the way, he also has an affair with the Annie Malone chick, the one who they portrayed as this beautiful light-skinned goddess. You know, now in real life she was light-skinned, but she didn't look nothing like they had her looking in that film, and it was never a disrespect type of relationship that she had with Madam C.J. Walker. They had a falling out over some business disagreements, but in the movie, the light-skinned girl constantly puts her down. She eventually follows her when she goes to another city and tries to take her customers away. I mean, they really pushed it. At one point, her husband has an affair with the light-skinned woman, you know. So those two narratives right there was just, and then at one point, Tiffany Haddish is her daughter, Madam C.J. Walker, Octavia Spencer's daughter, and she's telling her, yeah, women like us got to work harder. I'm like, Tiffany Haddish is pretty good looking. Like, I wasn't buying Tiffany Haddish being some old beat down, you know, ugly chick. I couldn't buy that, but it was just frustrating to watch. It was cool. The first two episodes was entertaining, but you knew it was kind of like way off. But I just couldn't stomach myself to watch it anymore. I couldn't get past episode 3. I was done. I was done. I was like, yo, I'm tired of them butchering black history like this. And the fact that you got black people involved in the production. This isn't on Netflix. This is on the executive producers and the directors. And like I say, from that Kasilemmons chick down to Octavia Spencer. And even LeBron co-signed off on this. Now, I'm not going to give him too much, you know, whatever, because he's a full-time basketball player. He probably just signed off on some papers and said, whatever, give me my credit, put the money in the bank. But the rest of these people that were hands-on, and like I say, if you watch that Harriet movie, this shit ain't far off. It's very bland. At times, it's stretches of just boredom, and it's just not true. And like I said, anytime they put inspired by or loosely based, you know they're gonna put some extra. I remember Tina Turner said she didn't like What's Love Got to Do with It because they added in extra scenes that wasn't real. Like they made Ike Turner look worse than he really was. There was no eat the cake anime scene. They made that up for entertainment. And it's an iconic scene. Everybody loves it. But they always add 100 on 10 for entertainment value. And I don't think that's an excuse for the narratives that they pushed. How many times did they have to keep pushing that light skin, dark skin narrative? How many times did they have to keep showing how jealous her husband was because she was, you know, like, come on. I'm tired of this shit, man. But they only got a couple hours of my time. I wasn't going to sit around and watch this shit. There's a lot of things you could watch on Netflix. This ain't one of them. And like I say, watch this film, do your research before you talking about, oh, you being disrespectful. Look, Madam C.J. Walker was that shit. She did her thing. You know what I mean? She changed the game. And she deserves her story to be told better. The girl, Annie Malone, her great-great-granddaughter just came out last week and said that she didn't approve of this film and that they basically lied on her great-great-grandmother and portrayed her in a very disingenuous manner. So, hey, you know, and I was like, why didn't you reach out to the family members? Why didn't you reach out to people who were around at that time? Not saying that they were around because they're gone now, but you know what I mean? Reach out to family and friends and, you know what I mean? People, you don't just come up together and say, we're going to tell someone's story and fuck it up like that. Nah, man, I get this movie, and I didn't watch all 4 episodes. Based off the 3 episodes I seen, out of a 10, I give it a 3. Out of 5 stars, I give it a 2. That's all they're getting from me.